evening on the question of the Southern Cameroon territory, Ambazonians. There is a lot of issues, and I really appreciate all of you that are tuned in this evening. Um, just hold on. Just hold on. I want to appreciate all of you that are tuned in this afternoon. It's 2:43 p.m. here in the great state of Texas and 2:43 p.m. in Ambazonian territory. And I am your host, Comrade Fonton Daniel. I am speaking this evening here in the great state of Texas, here in the United States. And you all may have seen my captions, or if you don't get caption to my broadcast, probably maybe it's an error, but I really appreciate all of you tuned in this evening on these important editions of the Southern Cameroon term. The key point that I want to emphasize, but first of all, I want to thank every members of the Southern Cameroon territory, all fellow citizens, all fellow brothers, all fellow sisters, and all of you elsewhere, those in the diaspora, those in Europe, those in China, South America, in Ground Zero, and in the neighboring country, La République du Cameroon. I am your humble servant, Fonton Daniel. I know it has been a while that I haven't spoken. It's because of other emergencies that I work on in the background. But however, this is very important point that I want to emphasize, and that is why I am coming to you to these issues. And I want to thank all of you out there, and I want to take my sincere gratitude to the Ambazonian defense system that are fighting in Ground Zero for this most important territory of Southern Cameroon. We are citizens of Southern Cameroon. Before, wherever we are, we were formerly citizens of Southern Cameroon territory. And it is quite amazing that we find ourselves in the midst of this chaotic scene that is going on in Southern Cameroon. The crisis in Southern Cameroon is something that it is very painful to watch. The people of Southern Cameroon, as I will emphasize, is not a conquered territory. The people of Southern Cameroon is not a colonial territory of La République du Cameroon. The people of Southern Cameroon has never been part of La République du Cameroon. And therefore, it was a fraud that emanated to the people of Southern Cameroon, and that is pain and suffering. That is what is happening now in Southern Cameroon territory. In fact, the people of Southern Cameroon has been emphasized this, or Ambazonia has emphasized to the world community that the Republic of Cameroon is an untrustful worthy to rake upon. Of course, this is the dilemma. La République thinks, because La République do not always keep facts and figures. And so that is why they do not even aware of their Independence Day, because they do not keep facts and figures. And so they are dealing with the people of Southern Cameroon when facts and figures matters. And that is why there is this conflict of interest that is going on in Southern Cameroon. We understand what happened in the Swiss talks. La République du Cameroon demonstrated the spirit of bad faith. They willfully, deliberately refused to attend the discussion in Swiss in regard to the ongoing crisis in Southern Cameroon, because they claim the ownership that they own the people of Southern Cameroon, and therefore nobody can speak or tell them what they should do, because they understood better than the rest of the world, including the people of Southern Cameroon. The fact is, there is citizens of Southern Cameroon that has no deliberate support. However, because of their personal interests, and that is why they focus on that. And my message today is asking the United States. There is a conflict of interest despite the various leaders that have demonstrated they are willing to solve. The Swiss government has demonstrated that they are willing in every aspect to support a dialogue, a meaningful dialogue, because the case of Southern Cameroon is not an internal affair, as the Republic of Cameroon seems to portray that the case of Southern Cameroon is an internal problem and that requires the Republic of Cameroon to demonstrate. That is one thing that I want to make it clear. The Southern Cameroon question is not an internal problem. It requires it's a conflict that of two identical independent nations coming together. In fact, in 1960, 1st of January 1960, that was an Independence Day. Of course of that, this conflict arising is not something that began today. The Prime Minister of Southern Cameroon, Jongo Foncha, the one who initiated this relationship that we, the people of Southern Cameroon, are suffering, denounced it early on that he doesn't perceive and he doesn't trust the Republic of Cameroon. And he denounced it early on. But yet, the Republic of Cameroon has not in any means acknowledged that this is something required two leaders of the both country to come together to discuss the issues. Instead, they're using their military in order to suppress the will of the people of Southern Cameroon, demonstrate that it is an internal issue, which is not. Now, they deliberately, I understand that international community, their own concern, but it is a fact that the Republic of Cameroon is not to be trusted. Now, the Canadian government has willfully utilized its own resources to shoulder the problem so that a peaceful could resume, depending on the context in which both parties must agree. The both parties might agree to split altogether. The both parties can choose whatever they want. It is the will of the people of Southern Cameroon and the will of the Republic of Cameroon for them to agree under what conditions, if they haven't or they have to, and under what terms. It requires the Republic of Cameroon and the people of Southern Cameroon. And that is the Canadian second meeting. It demonstrates this willfully that La République du Cameroon cannot be trusted.
D'affirmer leur identité. Et c'est pour ça que nous mettons sur pied un statut spécial qui reconnaît.
You know, so the Canadian government has demonstrated that they are willing to utilize their own experience. But here is the dilemma, the weaknesses. Here is the dilemma or the weaknesses. The Canadian government has willfully invited certain members of the Southern Cameroon to join and to find a lasting peace and issues on the question of Southern Cameroon. But yet, La République du Cameroon has not demonstrated those leadership and restraint. And let me listen to this. Let's listen to this. This is a letter written by the government of the Republic of Cameroon. This released today the 23rd by the Minister of Communication in that country, Ms. Renée Emmanuel Sadi. According to the communique, he indicates that there is an ongoing dialogue that they have initiated. To whom did they initiate the dialogue? In fact, if you're speaking about initiation of a dialogue, let's listen to first, before I go into the negotiation of dialogue, let's listen to Paul Biya himself.
Sur pied un statut spécial qui reconnaît la spécificité de la zone anglophone, mais elle reste dans l'intégrité territoriale du Cameroun. Ça donne beaucoup de progrès.
Please, if you, we understand.
On avait la possibilité de les intégrer directement dans le système francophone, qui était celui de la majorité du peuple, 80%. Mais je crois que les pays sont soucieux aujourd'hui d'affirmer leur identité. Et c'est pour ça que nous mettons sur pied un statut spécial qui reconnaît la spécificité de la zone anglophone, mais elle reste dans l'intégrité territoriale.
That the message of that country president, Paul Biya, he says he has initiated an ongoing dialogue. Who is on the table of the dialogue? First, the Prime Minister, who is the head of government of La République du Cameroon, is not head of government of the people of Southern Cameroon. He is not, and he does not represent the people of Southern Cameroon. The Prime Minister of La République du Cameroon, John Guti, who initiated what is so-called dialogue, is not a representative of the people of Southern Cameroon. First, let me look at the political landscape. When you appoint someone, that is why they said an elected official is more powerful than an appointed official, because an appointed official is answerable to the person whose signature designates him to that position. But when a person is elected by the people, he is directly answerably to the people to whom they elected him or her. So, John Gute, who is the signature of that foreign country president, Paul Biya, is not and will not represent the people of Southern Cameroon in whatsoever case. We are not stupid. We are not mentally deranged. In fact, we are not stupid. So therefore, the Republic of Cameroon cannot perceive us to be as though we are not aware of what is the form and structure of a government. And that is why we believe in Anglo-Saxon system of government. And the people's elected representative that represent the spirit of the people and not a certain decree. If, for example, let me come back to the United States. The Biden administration, like here in the United States, can dismiss his entire cabinet. But what he cannot do, he cannot dismiss the member of the U.S. Congress or the U.S. Senate or the governor, because they are not under the signature of the President Biden's administration. They are under the signature of the people to whom elect them as their representative. So we, the people of Southern Cameroon, believe in this fundamental right that we, the people, must elect their leaders. So therefore, Paul Biya, to whom his signature represents, who the so-called John Gute, does not represent the people of Southern Cameroon. So he cannot, in what circumstances, carry on any negotiation or dialogue on behalf of the people of Southern Cameroon. First, he's an Anglophone. So therefore, he cannot, in every circumstances, sit on the side of the Republic du Cameroon to represent the people of Southern Cameroon. I am speaking both to the international community and the people of Southern Cameroon and the world at large. For peace to resume, there must be fiscal discussion on, and that the people of Southern Cameroon must be presided over by its people and not La Republic appointed officials to delegate the decision on behalf of the people of Southern Cameroon. Because John Gute, the so-called Prime Minister of La Republic, has no power on behalf of the people of Southern Cameroon because he did not derive his power from the people of Southern Cameroon. He is a personal decree signed by Paul Biya and not elected by the people of Southern Cameroon, and cannot in every circumstances stand up and represent the people of Southern Cameroon. The people of Southern Cameroon has its own power to delegate and elect its representative who will stand and speak on behalf of the people of Southern Cameroon and not the Republic of Cameroon, the vice versa. And that's why I keep on bringing this. I appreciate the Canadian government. I appreciate the Canadian government. I appreciate the Swiss government. But however, my key point is that it's time the United States to step up and show that they are not just the people, they are the leaders of the free world. And the United States can do this in harmony and in good faith. And I do not believe that if the United States government step up, it's not going to take less than 24 hours, and you will see the result. And that is why I am asking the United States government, it's now to step up. It's not just to call the dialogue. It's not just to invite leaders of Africa. It's time to be specific on what the United States position is vis-a-vis Africa. Because these are the key fundamental problems that Africa and citizens of the rest of the world look upon leadership of the United States. And this is how the United States can demonstrate by call into order. Here is the problem. Why the Canadians cannot use any other force to force La Republique to table? Because they are a French colony. Even though they have independent government that function independently from France, they still have a crucial influence from France. The Swiss government, even though they have an independent government, they are members of the European Union and therefore cannot take any action against France to force La Republique. So now the only person left on the table is United States. It's only United States can demonstrate and tell France, this is not what the people want. And this is what I anticipate that the people want, and La Republique is not forthcoming. And therefore, I am asking the United States to demonstrate, because various African countries are watching carefully how the United States act on this crisis in Southern Cameroon. It doesn't matter whether it is a big nation But other small nations have problems as well. And therefore, United States need to step up leadership and show to the Africa that they love them. The question of Southern Cameroon doesn't matter whether it's a small country. It doesn't matter how the world deals with smaller crises, just as you deal with the Ukraine crisis. This is when the Canadian government, through its ambassador, indicate and its foreign minister indicate that they are willing to shoulder the crisis for the common good of both. The Republic of Cameroon, through his communications minister, stated that he appreciates foreign country and that the problem of Cameroon can be resolved by what is so-called a dialogue. In fact, Southern Cameroon is not a colonial or a conquered territory of La Republique. Southern Cameroon, United Nations Resolution 1608XV, voted at the United Nations headquarters in 1961, recognized the people of Southern Cameroon as equal entity. And the same token, in 1960, the same at the United Nations, recognized the Republic of Cameroon. How does it become that a Southern Cameroon territory become a province in a foreign country? It is very ironically that the United States need to step up, show leadership, because various African countries are watching United States carefully. They may not have the arsenal to stand up with the United States mighty military, but however, the United States need to demonstrate that they can be trusted and step up and show African, because the Africans are watching. The Africans are watching how the United States demonstrate its leadership, not just for the Ukraine crisis, but also for Africa, that they are part. In fact, it was a disgraceful watching a mentally deranged individual that was invited to the White House called Paul Biya. It is very unfortunate. It is very unfortunate. But yet, he is the president of a country. A mentally deranged person called Paul Biya is the president of a country that was invited. He wasn't even aware that he was in the United States. Neither was he aware who is the current president of the United States, even though he was in the White House. I am urging the United States, that as you focus on Ukraine, Africa is part of the deal. As you focus on the Ukraine crisis, Africa is part of the deal. Because what the United States do will impact the rest of the crisis. It takes 24 hours phone call from the United States government indicate their position, and that will change the course of the crisis. Why? It doesn't have to take up to 6 years. The United States influence is powerful enough to deter the Republic of Cameroon, to understand that people, no matter the war that is going on in Ukraine, it will finally end on a table where both parties will have to agree. The United States is fully aware. But the case of the Republic of Cameroon is not something that could take the United States a military might to bring them onto the table. The United States have the power and the decision to ask the Republic of Cameroon to comply. And it won't take less than 24 hours and the Republic of Cameroon will comply to the United States demand. But why is the United States staying sideways? Pretend that they are not even aware of the fact. It's painful. It's painful. It's absolutely painful watching. It's painful watching. Listen to that country president.
C'est de les intégrer directement dans le système francophone qui était celui de la majorité du peuple, 80%. Mais je crois que les pays sont soucieux.
My next moment of this broadcast, I am going to bring out the statement that he fits where he belongs and at what moment and at what time. But here, the communication minister dispute the Canadian government effort, their financial obligation, their sacrifice, the Swiss government, their financial obligation, their sacrifice to initiate. But yet, the state of Southern Cameroon is not a property of the Republic of Cameroon. It's not and will not. So we are urging the United States not only to focus on the Ukraine, they should also show the leader. The United States invite leaders of the Africans that the United States is willing to work. But how can the United States demonstrate? They must show their willfulness, that they are willing to help in a crisis like the one in Southern Cameroon. Is a clear, dynamical example that the United States can demonstrate. It takes less than 24 hours for the United States phone call to initiate. We change the culture in the Southern Cameroon territory, and the people will live in peace and harmony. Why is it that the United States is afraid of France? Of course not. So why then? The war in Ukraine, United States can stand it alone. But why is United States? And that's why you see what the other countries are stepping up for Russia to come and assist. People would rather prefer, Africa as a whole would prefer the leadership of the United States. But the United States must demonstrate that skill. Instead of standing on like they are not even aware. And it's painful. The Southern Cameroon territory is never and will never be part of the Republic of Cameroon. So I continue to urge the United States to show leadership and skillful on the people, on the question of Southern Cameroon. I just want to take a moment to thank all of you for watching. It has been a Comrade Funton Daniel speaking live here in the great state of Texas. I wish you all a happy and wonderful evening. Thank you so much and good night.